On January 1st, something happened of consequence from a legal perspective. We created and implemented something called the Transparency Act. And I can only imagine that your experience of the Transparency Act and our expectation of the Transparency Act might be a little bit different. The Transparency Act required, amongst other things, that service providers post their prices on the web, and importantly, in machine readable format, which meant that web scrapers and others had to be able to go on and find your information and put it into a database so you could do cost comparisons and the like. So that was the legal requirement implemented on January 1 of this year. And it was put in place by the prior administration, passed under law. Now, tell me what you've experienced with the Transparency Act.
About 5% of 5,700 hospitals comply because the fine of $300 a day or $109,000 a year makes it well worth conducting business illegally because it has a higher ROI than doing it legally.
Okay, I want to hit the pause button. I want to make sure that everybody understood what you just said. The fine for violating the Transparency Act is a slap on the wrist called $300 a day with a maximum amount of $109,000 a year.
Correct. And the average hospital bed makes about $1 million. So even with a community hospital, 300 beds, they typically are pulling in $300 million a year in revenue. So Tom, what's $109,000, you know?
So one would call it a rounding error.
Exactly.
Now, to be fair, there are some hospitals that have been under siege recently. I mean, the last couple of years, particularly rural hospitals who've lost a lot of support. We've seen a lot of consolidation in the industry because some hospitals are doing well and some are not. We've seen a lot of consolidation, particularly in urban markets. And so where there's consolidation that's already occurred and you've got larger hospitals, it's even less of a concern for those hospitals. And for those hospitals that have not been acquired and who are struggling in the field, it's an even greater concern. And it may be such that it's such a concern that they're weighing, on the one hand, how do I handle my pricing issues? And on the other hand, how do I find the IT staff to go make this a reality and actually comply with the law?
Well, I'm going to be a little bit more sarcastic and cynical with you. I'm going to use my own 3-hospital monopoly system in my county of 400,000 in Westmoreland County, Excella Health. So intentionally, they have left out expensive care items like a cardiac catheterization, a hip or knee replacement. But along the major thoroughway, Route 30, on the highway, they have billboards about what great jobs they do on hip and knee replacements. But wink, wink, somehow they forgot to put that on their charge master for the price transparency. Now, guess what they don't forget to do? Todd gets a knee replacement, they send you a bill. So we're supposed to believe that they don't know how to put together a fee for service schedule and publish it. But at the same time, they're sophisticated enough to send you a bill the day you're discharged from the hospital. Malarkey.
And it goes even further, because if some of those involved in the surgery were not in network and they try and send you a bill for an out-of-network charge where there's no privity of contract and there's no obligation, or they've unilaterally negotiated with that provider to come in and do the job, you had nothing to do with that, and you're just caught in the crosshairs, and all of a sudden you're looking at a very, very large bill straight in the face, and you're impressed with the notion that you may not have any recourse, right?
That's what a lot of people think, but a free big money tip, free tip. People, listen up. If the hospital is in network, but the doctor isn't, you just got free care from that doctor because you didn't sign a contract with the doctor when the anesthesiologist put you to sleep, or that ER doctor. There's no separate contract. No contract, no fee for service arrangement. You just got free care. Congratulations.
So let's talk about one of the other big legal implications of all this stuff. The ICD comes from another organization that's not inside the United States. The ICD stands for the International Classification of Diseases, and that database is generated by none other than the World Health Organization. And so it was never designed to be a billing system. It was designed to see what was going around the world, and if there was a way for nations to band together to fight common interests or common problems. And all of a sudden it's become a billing system. And yet it seems very, very easy to not only manipulate, but also to exploit. Is there a behind the scenes issue there?
Follow the money, right? When you want to make logic in the business world, follow the money. So ICD-9 diagnosis codes, there may be about 12,000 of them. And now there's 72,000 in the ICD-10. So you just took a crazy multiple of codes that you need to match. You need to match a diagnosis code to a procedure code, whether that procedure is an office visit or a blood test. But now there's so many more mismatches, 12,000 versus 72,000. Now they don't always match. So claims are denied. There's a 4-word definition of an insurance company: collect premium, deny payment. With 72,000 diagnosis codes, it permits for, oh, Todd, you submitted the wrong code. We're denying your claim. They can hold on to their billions of dollars longer.